It's day 3 at Henley Royal Regatta, a time where the remaining crews really start to feel the pressure, and that is certainly the case here at Fawley Meadows. Sunday's finals are within grasp and no crew wants to go home at this point, and that was certainly the case for our first pick of the day, a fiercely contested battle between University of London B and Newcastle University A in the Fawley Challenge Cup.
Another of our new events, women's eights here.
So women's students eights here. So the University of London, so you've got a good start there. Newcastle, quick wobble off the start as the Cox recovers the steering. That will cost them a little bit of a distance, but not much at this stage. They're getting back now into their racing stride.
A bit more of the unknown. In fact, it's a new event. We've got any
no form book to follow.
No previous data. I think we've seen enough eights over the years, so to know roughly what we're going to expect.
Yeah. And I think we've got a really good example of an A crew against a B crew here for their respective clubs.
Yeah, it's important to emphasise Newcastle University nearest to the camera that you can see there in the blue with red and white stripes. They are bossing the race, half a length up on University of London B.
A slightly more aggressive start, Tim. They've taken an extra stroke a minute over the last maybe 20-25 seconds looking at the pictures, and they're just slowly squeezing out a lead over UL.
So Newcastle led for most of the first half of the race, but marginally, and now continuing in that vein, marginally, it's University of London B who have nipped ahead, but there's still a long way to go. They're only just reaching the enclosures, and it's going to be fascinating to see how this race unfolds. It's going to be so much about steering, so you're just looking there at the boats. They're not completely going the same path, and any sort of meandering and adding on extra yardage to the race when it's this tight could really cost you dear. Newcastle University A there just slipping to quarter of a length down. Now they're starting to pull clear. University of London B are getting to grips with this race and putting it to bed. Newcastle University A are now a length down. Final 10 strokes of the race in front of Stewards. It's been a really terrific race, and actually Newcastle University are giving it a bit more into the final few strokes. I'm not sure it'll be enough though. University of London B progress through to the round on Saturday on the Berkshire station. UL are there. It was a good race, though, not much more than half a length the margin of victory against Newcastle University A. Pick of the races perhaps today.
The effort the crews put in out on the water for those 7 or so minutes racing is plain for all to see. What we don't get to glimpse, though, is the preparation that goes on behind the scenes here in the boating area. The crews are up at the crack of dawn all week, warming up, cooling down and getting mentally prepared. It's about being in the right place physically to give it your all out on the water, and that is exactly what Abingdon School and St Edward's did in the Princess Elizabeth Challenge Cup.
We're underway in the Friday of the Princess Elizabeth Challenge Cup, and a matchup I'm sure we must have seen in this PE event before. Abingdon, St Edward's, both classic schools to have at this stage of the regatta, and it looks like to me it's Teddy's St Edward's on the Buck Station that's taking the advantage at this point, Catherine.
It is, you're right, and all these schools, we see such amazing sort of over the years, incredible sort of competitions building between them. There's such a pride in trying to take on this event at school level. They get amazing support from obviously family and friends who are usually here as well. But it's tight as we come along the island.
St Edward's doing a really remarkable job of eating into the lead that Abingdon have established.
Well, this is it, because normally what you often get is once you've got that, we talked about early on the race about half a length, if you're leading that, you can keep. You want to keep taking a bit more. Now, the best thing a crew can do that feels that if they feel they're having a crew rowing away from them, is you stop that happening, you stop that slipping, and you move back. And what we've seen now is Teddy's have now got the sort of the positivity coming in, because suddenly they've pulled back the distance that Abingdon had got. And when it's level like this, then the confidence goes back to Teddy's.
My word, look at this. What a brave effort from St Edward's School. They've come from a length deficit to now being almost a third of a length up in an 8. That's very rare to see. Well, We're into the closing stages. Look, the Henley Town backdrop there as they move in towards what will be a very pleasing victory for them. I think we're going to see some very happy boys here in this Princess Elizabeth Challenge Cup Friday race. They will be delighted to have overcome the strength of Abingdon School by over a length across the finish line. And wow, that was all done very maturely through that middle portion of the race.
Bearing in mind a rower can burn up to 420 calories in just half an hour in a boat, it's no surprise they spend a fair bit of time here, and food plays a big part in their day. And Cambridge University's Dara Alizadeh needed all the energy he could muster when he took on Italy's Simone Martini in the Diamond Challenge Sculls.
And look how close this is. I mean, this is what we, it's awful again, isn't it? As commentators, as spectators, you want to see these close, ferocious battles on the water. From an athlete point of view, once they're over, they're wonderful races to be part of. In this point, this is feeling hard for both scullers.
Yeah, this will be really tough, and both of these athletes have oodles of international experience, and there's Simone Martini just being warned, the Italian sculler who unfortunately missed out on his spot at the Tokyo Olympics because he was pipped by the younger 19-year-old Gennaro De Mauro to the spot. So it will have hurt him a lot to have missed out on that seat. He was the first sculler to qualify Italy in the single scull for 20 years. He qualified at the World Championships and then missed out, and he's here now leading Dara Alizadeh of Cambridge University. He represented Bermuda at the Olympic Games. So these two really well matched. Well, my word, this is one of the closest races of the regatta so far. It has been Martini, the Italian sculler, that has led the whole way, but it's been no more than half a length between these two single scullers. Now, this is gladiatorial battling at its best, and I think Dara Alizadeh of Cambridge University has just gone for another kick.
Do you know, they're almost exactly level. This is a brilliant overhead shot. And what you also see is, although they've had lots of international experience, they will never have physically been so close to their opposition before. There's no buoy lanes that separate these two crews. So you saw a moment ago their blades were almost touching down the centre, and that just adds to that feeling of, we always talk about being gladiators right in the centre of this course, and that's exactly what these two men are doing now. This is sensational. The best race we have seen, not just of Friday, but of the regatta in the Diamond Challenge Sculls. Dara Alizadeh goes again. He's going for the upset here to overturn Simone Martini. He got the bye through to this event. Alizadeh already with a race underneath his belt, and he's gone for the sprint early. And that's it. We see in single sculls how quickly you can change the rate. Just there, Dara's taken about half a length in a few strokes. And will that be enough in these closing strokes to stay ahead?
Well, they've got about 10 strokes left to row. Dara Alizadeh of Cambridge University looks for the line. The sculler, coached by Rob Baker, is going to be absolutely thrilled to have overcome the giant from Italy, Simone Martini. A length in it in the end, but wow, I've got a huge smile on my face because that was just a pleasure to commentate on.
Whether you're celebrating a win or lamenting a loss, the boating area is where you can let it all out. And after a year away from our beloved Henley Royal Regatta, you can truly see how much being here really means to all of our crews, and how important a positive mental attitude out there really is. That was certainly the case in this outing of the Princess Elizabeth Challenge Cup, as both Shrewsbury School and Westminster School were gunning for the win.
Shrewsbury School in blue at the top of your screen, and Westminster School in bright pink, that really garish colour down the bottom of your screen, and off they go. One of the most hotly tested, this competition is absolutely stacked. There's so many crews, and qualifiers. The absolute pinnacle of junior boys rowing right here in the PE Henley Royal Regatta. This is the one they want, isn't it?
Yeah, they talk in junior UK rowing about the Triple Crown, and that's the schools head of the river, the national schools, and Henley Royal Regatta. And let's face it, Henley Royal Regatta, the Princess Elizabeth Challenge Cup, is the jewel in that crown. You're right, Jess, this is what all of the athletes want to win. And at the moment, Shrewsbury going out hard, going out long, going out strong. They look like they've got the slightly better rhythm. And if you look at the way they're sitting up nice and tall at that stroke, at the front of that stroke, just etching out bit by bit, eking out man by man. Looking like there's more rhythm, more composure in that crew. If they can continue to move away with this type of rhythm, I think they're going to get control of this race in the early stages and be able to dominate proceedings.
Wow, you don't see that very often. They just took a third of a length coming up here past Upper Thames, and they're looking pretty powerful, and I've never seen that happen before so quickly. They've just suddenly taken a length in the Shrewsbury crew.
Yeah, something was said. Here we go. I mean, this is going to be a phenomenal final 500 or so metres, probably even longer than that actually. They've probably got 600, 700 metres to go, neck and neck. The momentum now, Jess, has to be with Westminster. I mean, having moved back, imagine if you're in that Shrewsbury crew, all you're thinking is, oh my God, these guys have just taken a length out of us in about 30 strokes. How are we going to contend with them in the final 500? Shrewsbury need to go now. Their blade work's getting a little bit erratic. You can see there the wind making a real impact on the ability of both crews to keep true to their form, and I think Westminster have broken them. I think Westminster are going to keep this. You can see the Shrewsbury coach going absolutely crazy, banging the boat, demanding more of his boys, but Westminster looser, more composed, more relaxed. They're rowing through stewards, and I think they're going to take this one, Jess.
Well, what a treat, what a race. You don't normally see crews coming back like that in eight in the big boat. The speed is so fast, but I think the headwind, the stream, open the door for Westminster. Fair play to them. They're coming through to take the win in the PE Princess Elizabeth Challenge Cup. On to Saturday for them.
Well, Westminster looking great ahead of the weekend there. But it's not just the rowers themselves that need to be in peak condition for the racing. The boats get about as much attention, to be honest. The crews, the coaches spend hours cleaning, washing, greasing and tinkering with many different parts of the boats to make sure they are race ready. And the boats of Exeter and Leigh Rowing Club were looking spectacular at the start line of the Fawley Challenge Cup.
2 clean starts from these great quads.
It's like a TGV or something like that, or an Intercity 125, something like that, something with a big old engine on it, that's for sure. Loved seeing the hand movements in the sculling. It's almost like sort of, I don't know, like knitting or something, isn't it? There's lots of movement and it's really technical and lots of skill involved.
Absolutely, they're out pretty cleanly, which is good. The conditions here at Henley are quite changeable this afternoon. As I came into the commentary box, it was blowy, you can see the trees bending. It's got a little bit brighter, so I think changeable conditions down the course. They have to have their heads ready for that. And at this point in the race, just picking up alongside, it looks like Exeter has maybe 1 or 2 seats of lead so far. Yeah, I think Leigh have made something of that push. It's a bit hard to judge from this angle, but you see the marker go up there in the 2 red numbers. The 2 is about a quarter length down on the 1, which suggests that Leigh have clawed back 2 or 3 seats in the last move that they made there. So a very effective move.
They have, yeah. That was it's really helpful, those signal signs, and I mean the signal signs are almost fascinating in themselves. They use these sort of sailing ropes and cleats to cleat off those numbers so that we can all see how these crews are progressing. But yeah, this is becoming a very close race here, and it looks like Leigh Rowing Club might be making a sort of a breakthrough here.
I think this is a very strong move from Leigh. You can see they've got confidence gaining with every stroke, and I think they're taking distance with every stroke, just holding on to those finishes a touch longer, getting more confidence to push harder. You can see the teeth really gritted in the 2-seat there, in the 3-seat there by Ed Fuller, and they are coming neck and neck now. What a great race. There's not much track left. We're into the last 350 metres in front of the enclosures in this heat of the Fawley Junior Men's Quads. Leigh have come from behind and they are now sitting maybe a third to a half a length ahead of their opposition from Exeter Rowing Club. It's a close race. It's one that these crews will both remember. Who will cross the line first? About 10 strokes to go for both crews. It's time for Exeter to give it everything they can.
Amazing sculling here from the Leigh. What a tremendous row through there. That's brilliant sculling.
So at the finish, Harry Fletcher, Theo Granderidge, Deepa Persis and Sam O'Connor cross the line first. A great result for the Leigh, half a length ahead of Exeter Boat Club. Coming from behind and winning like that, that is something mature athletes love to do. Great to see these young lads from the Leigh beating Exeter in the Fawley Challenge Cup.
One of the great things about Henley Royal Regatta is that the junior rowers we've just seen share the very same water, the same stage as Olympic heroes. And that's certainly what draws the crowds in as well. Because of the change of schedule in this year's regatta too, we have seen some of them, literally fresh from a plane in Tokyo, grace the waters here. Two in particular caused quite the stir. McCarthy and O'Donovan, the reigning Olympic lightweight champions, racing the double Sculls Challenge Cup.
So the first round of the double Sculls here with the Olympic lightweight men's champions on the left of your screen.
Go!
And Leander and Redding, heavyweight talent on the right, and away they go.
Brilliant tight racing from both, high rating from the Irish straight away. They mean business. They've got that Tokyo racing experience and they've come here to get more races.
Now, however much celebrating they've been doing, you can see on those two faces that they absolutely mean business. Off at a fantastic rate of striking. Their Tokyo race and pace and stroke rate was absolutely blistering. And if you're up against the Olympic champions, even though they're lightweights, the heavyweight guys have got to have their heads screwed on really well here to not lose their nerve and to do the best they can to use the advantages they've got in their favour.
Exactly, so the advantage they have are weight and that extra power and of course knowledge of this course. So steering really well there and a really powerful start from Sam and Charles. They know that they have to be on the metal right from the first stroke.
Yeah, and they're sculling pretty well, aren't they? You know, having brought this crew together and trained specifically for Henley, they've got absolute focus in this first round of the double Sculls, and they're sculling stroke for stroke. And there's nothing in it from the side shot here from our catamaran, about 300 metres into this course. They're both going to be trying to change gear. That's the 400-metre mark roughly. As they're changing gear, it looks like the lightweights are nudging in front.
So I think as they changed gear, you saw the rate drop a little bit with Sam and Charles, and at that point the rate was still high, the length was still long in the Irish crew, and they are now just starting to edge ahead.
It's pure joy watching this double Scull, isn't it?
So supreme. It's really powerful for a lightweight crew. They are rowing it like any heavyweight would row it. I mean, it's just supreme, really impressive. And you can see everyone rushing to the bank because they want to see the newly crowned Tokyo Olympic champions on the Henley course.
Yeah, and this is why they want to be at Henley. Look at that setting. It's absolutely unique. 182 years of well-fought rowing all the way down here. See Paul O'Donovan starting to puff a little bit in the final stages of this race. It's not been a walkover by any means, my goodness. It was a good hard-fought race, and the lightweights continue to dominate over the two athletes from Reading and Leander on the home stretch of the Leander Club coming into the last few strokes.
Impressive rowing there. Really, they're going to love the crowds. They're going to the Irish Rowing Champions later this month. They wanted to come to Henley Royal Regatta. We're so lucky, but privileged to see them. What a supreme crew.
Well, they're chucking everything in now. Sam and Charlie moving to the centre of the course. The crews are coming together, but I don't think it's going to affect the outcome of the last 4 or 5 strokes. And we've got Fintan McCarthy, Paul O'Donovan, the gold medalists from Tokyo, overlapping at the finish. Fantastic performance too from Sam Townsend and Charlie Cousins of Reading and Leander. The Irish have it. The gold medalist from Tokyo, thumbs up from Paul, nod of acknowledgement from Fintan. What a way to start our afternoon shift here at Henley.
Well, it's all quiet for now, but the weekend looms ahead. We're one step closer to the all-important finals on Sunday. The YouTube live coverage starts at 9:30 a.m. tomorrow morning with our pick of the day at the close of play. Join us then.